This is Football at 4.
Football at 4 is powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Adam Caplan is here today, and we'll take a look at his quarterback rankings as many people talking about QB rankings, executives, scouts, front office members put out their top 10 yesterday in an article over at ESPN.com. And now Adam has his own criteria and his own quarterback rankings, which we're going to dive in today on the Sports Bash Live. I'm looking forward to this list. We had a fun time breaking down that list yesterday. I'm looking forward to what Adam has on his list. And don't forget the Inside the Birds podcast you can get on all podcasting platforms and their YouTube channel. Just search Inside the Birds as we bring in Adam Caplan here on a Sports Bash Tuesday edition. Adam, how are you, sir?
I'm good. You know what's interesting? A couple things here. First of all, because of this piece came out at ESPN.com, and I didn't know this, so why I knew about it yesterday, but I didn't know about it that it was coming out last week because Jeremy Fowler, the guy who wrote the piece, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I was with Fowler at a charity event in Connecticut, and it's funny we didn't talk about this. Had I known about it, I would have asked him about it. You know, so I used to work with Jeremy at ESPN. It's kind of funny. Just happened to be with a guy last Friday, but in fact, this thing has become sort of the hot take story on social media because camps are just opening, most are not open, so there's not a ton to talk about. So people have been talking about it. Now, it's really funny if you would have put these rankings together and not had Hurts in your top 7 after the 22 season. People say, "What's wrong with you? You're biased." Well, you notice, Mike, and I check this out on social media a lot, message boards and Facebook and so forth. A lot of the Hurts people are not quite defending him like they used to be. I find it interesting since these rankings came out.
Yeah, by the way, the ESPN rankings, he did not land in the top 10, and we'll see where you have him ranked on your list. Adam Caplan, your quarterback rankings, give us some criteria on what you're looking for.
All right, this is based solely on talking to NFL executives. John T. Filippo, the Eagles' former quarterback coach they won a Super Bowl with, who worked with us last season there on our Patreon, and he's going to be back with us occasionally on Patreon, so we look forward to getting John back. He's really taught me the quarterback position. Here are a lot of the things that he uses and others have used over the years and have given me personnel people of what they look for in quarterback. Size, obviously, you want a guy 6'2" or higher. Athleticism, you want a guy, if the pocket breaks down, you want him to be able to have second reaction movement, make the plays on the run when it gets flushed out. And your offensive line, Mike, won't play great every play. You got to be able to move. Arm strength. It's not good, though. It's great to have arm strength. It hurts, by the way, you spoke of Hurts, and we'll get to him later. He has arm strength better than you think. But it doesn't, like what we've learned through arm strength is, remember Kyle Bowler, the first-round pick with Baltimore? It didn't matter about his arm strength because his accuracy was so bad, he wound up being a terrible first-round pick. So if you don't have accuracy with arm strength, it doesn't matter. This is a big one, number 5, the ability to execute. Speaking of Hurts, show me a quarterback in 2022 who executed better. Here's the play, run it. Last season, he did not. He moved too much. He just didn't execute the plays, and I'm not saying the coaching was great, and the scheme was not great. It needed to be adjusted. But Hurts clearly regressed. It's not an arguable point. The tape showed it. He's got to bounce back. Coachability is another one. That's the willingness to be coached. Hard coaching. This is what John T. Filippo did great with with Wentz in 2016 and 2017 in particular. You got to want to be coached. If you don't want to be coached, you're not going to be a good quarterback, or eventually you're going to fizzle out. FBI, that's called functional football intelligence. You don't have to have a very high IQ or pass in these intelligence tests. Dan Marino's Hall of Famer. He had a very low Wonderlic score. The Wonderlic scores doesn't matter. You just have to be able to execute the play. And if you've got good enough functional football intelligence, you could succeed at the next level. Durability. Obviously, are you available to play? Football character. Are you a good teammate? Do you do what you're supposed to do? Are you there as a quarterback first? Are you the first one to be there, last one to leave? And leadership. Your quarterback better be the leader of their offense. If he's not, that's a problem.
All right, so there's a lot there. Obviously, this is coming from John D. Filippo. There's 10 criteria factors.
Not just him, though. Not just him. A lot of guys, but a lot from John.
Right.
Yep.
But taking that from a guy who's been a quarterback coach in the league,
yep.
That's 10 different qualities that they're looking for to find a successful quarterback in this league. I guess this is why there's so few successful quarterbacks in this league, right?
John, it's funny, Mike, us talk about this. I wish we had an hour to talk about this because I could give you everything. I have to give you basically Cliff Notes versions of each player, and we only got like 30 seconds per player. So let's get started. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes is number one. He's going for his fourth Super Bowl. He's not even 29 yet, and he's going for his third Super Bowl in a row, which, by the way, would be NFL record. No team has ever won 3 in a row. You know what's really underrated. I've heard Andy Reid say this: how smart Mahomes is. He gets credited for off-schedule plays and spectacular plays, and his leadership is terrific, durable, by the way, too. But his intelligence, the way that he plays, the way he breaks down defense, is a little bit better than you think. Josh Allen, number 2. Now, I'll admit it. I was wrong about Josh Allen. I was severely critical of Josh Allen when he was drafted out of Wyoming, because it's very rare, Mike, for an inaccurate quarterback in college to become accurate in the National Football League. It's if you go back to the 60s, quarterbacks for Division I quarterbacks, Mike, that throw for less than 60% completion rate, the success rate is very low. Josh Allen bucked the trend. I'm a fan. I'll admit it. I got on the bandwagon. I got that one wrong. So did a lot of NFL people. I give Brandon Beane credit, who I remember talking to Brandon Beane at their first, Josh Allen's first training camp. He told me if he gets his mechanics straightened out, his footwork straightened out, he's going to be a great quarterback, and that's exactly what happened. Number 3, Joe Burrow. I know some people would have Lamar Jackson over him. Joe Burrow is a phenomenal passer. Now, before he had the spate of injuries, including the ACL, he's a pretty good athlete for the position. Good size, really good arm strength, super aggressive. I worry about the durability. That's why he's not over Josh Allen, but he's at number 3. Number 4, Mike. Lamar Jackson, one of my favorite quarterbacks. I love watching this guy play. I know he hasn't been good in the playoffs. I know there's a durability issue. Throws a great ball. Nobody runs better than he does at that position. He's a better passer than you think, but they don't let him throw the ball a lot. I don't have a problem if you want to put other quarterbacks above him, but he's my number 4. Matthew Stafford, I know some people won't like this one. Put the team on his back when they won the Super Bowl, 40 touchdown passes when they won it that season. Still really, really good. They found a way to protect him. They've actually improved the interior of their offensive line. This guy's a really good quarterback. He won't be a Hall of Famer, Mike. He'll be on that list of right below the Hall of Fame, like a Rich Gannon type of quarterback, real winner, turned his career around after a lot of losing. He's now turned his career around, won a lot with the Rams. He's at number 5. Number 6, Mike, Justin Herbert. I know this is controversial. Some people think he should be at 10. Really gifted quarterback, doesn't run like he did at Oregon. They've not done a good job of building around him. Their offensive line still isn't good enough, but he's a super gifted quarterback. It's a shame that last season they had so many problems with injuries around him. That's my top 6.
All right, so in that 6, it was Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Stafford, Herbert. I don't know, that there's any complaints there. Stafford, you kind of mentioned when he was in Detroit, he wasn't known as a winning quarterback, just a guy who had a lot of talent. He wins that Super Bowls. That puts him on a different level. Herbert's interesting, hasn't done a lot of winning. I think a lot of this is based on his talent, the numbers he puts up, but he's going to have to start winning at some point, don't you think?
He does. Now, as we said, it's funny, we talk about Herbert, so we broke down on our Inside the Birds first show this week, which dropped Monday. You could hear it on any platform. We talked about what happened last season with Kellen Moore. They lost almost all of their key players on offense. Their skill position players that were lost for the season or missed significant time. But I remember the game against Minnesota. That was the game that Mike Williams tore his ACL. Herbert was unbelievably believable in that game. It was one of these games where you're like, wow, can he play like this every week? It was just pretty special. But they've not done a good job of building around him. So that's why he's kind of underachieved. But again, if you want to have Prescott ahead of him, I don't agree with putting Aaron Rodgers in my top 6 because he's now 40, turns 41 in December, Mike. Got hurt within the first series of the game last season. Coming off a torn Achilles, do we really think he could get to that elite level again? I don't know about that.
Are you more inclined to say that he will approach the old Aaron Rodgers or take a step back to a guy that's just average?
No way he's going to be average if he's healthy. I don't know that he'd get to the elite level. Brady did it. Brady's the only one that I could think of did it in his 40s. It's maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's someone else I'm missing. Probably is that's done it. But I can't imagine he'll be an elite quarterback again. But you know what? With that defense, and if they could get everybody healthy on offense, I'm probably going to wind up picking them to win that division. I think they could beat the Bills out. I really do.
All right, that was the top 6. Let's go to the next 6, down to number 12.
Dak Prescott at number 7. I know he's been hurt a little bit over his career. Still a really good passer. Played great in the regular season. Don't blame him for the playoffs. The defense was awful against the Packers. Still a really good quarterback. He's at number 7. I've got Rodgers at 8, as I just mentioned. This one was really tough. It was between Brock Purdy and Jalen Hurts. My criteria was you have to start at least one full season. If you haven't, you don't get on there. He did start more than one full season, as we know. 2 years ago, he came in, started the last quarter or so of games, and obviously through the playoffs. And last year, he was great. Now again, this is not who's the most talented list. He's an executor. That's a Greg Cosell term. I love that term. He couldn't fit in every system. He fits great in West Coast system. He's a better athlete than you think. He's got quick feet. Shows some scrambling ability in the playoffs. I really like him, Mike. I'm a bigger fan, and a lot of teams got him wrong. Mr. Irrelevant, Mike. Let's not forget the last pick of the NFL draft 3 years ago.
I like him a lot. Purdy, I'm a big fan of. I like that word, too, executor there. All right, that's Brock Purdy at number 9. And you got Jalen Hurts listed here at number 10.
Yeah, and we could have on Friday's segment, we could just talk about Hurts and we could break him down more. But Mike, he didn't process very well last season. Boy, did he process and execute. He was so decisive in 2022, and I remember talking about this on our spring shows, our off-season shows at 22, where I was like, wow, this could be his breakout season. I know he wasn't good enough the previous season. Maybe it's a good thing they didn't make the trade for Deshaun Watson. Boy, he looks like he could be a breakout player. I remember talking to someone with the Browns, and I was at their joint practices in Bree, Ohio for 2 days, and they were like, wow, Hurts looks like a different quarterback. Well, he was special that season. Unfortunately, he took a big step back last season, very inconsistent. Even when his numbers were good last season, he missed a lot of throws. Mike, it's to the point with Jalen Hurts. We need to know who he is as a quarterback. I'm not absolving the coaching staff. They didn't do a good enough job, and we know there's been some changes there, namely at offensive coordinator and quarterbacks coach. But Hurts has just got to play better. And I know he was hurt. We outlined this during the season with that knee injury. He didn't look quite right, but some of the things he was doing had nothing to do with his knee. You cannot move when you're not supposed to move. Stay in there and hang in there like he did in 22. So he's got to be better. Let's go to number 11. Trevor Lawrence, kind of like Hurts. I thought after 22, 23 would even be better. It was not. He struggled. Turnovers again. That's another problem for him. And now he did have 2 injuries, lower body ankle, high ankle sprain, which he came back too early, and a shoulder injury. Their offensive line didn't play well. He didn't play well. That's on him. He's at number 11. Tua Tagovailoa, the thing with him is he's an executor. He's a one progression quarterback. If he sees it, he throws it. He's phenomenal, Mike. When you make him hold on to the ball, he gets hit and gets hurt. I worry about durability with him. I'd rather have Hurts than Tua. I'm not biased. I'm not a fan of any team. I'm just telling you what I think. Good quarterback, though, when he's protected. Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, very durable until this Achilles injury. Man, and by the way, they're locked into his contract. The Falcons are for the first 2 seasons by structure. They can't get out of it. Jared Goff, number 14. Most people thought he was done. How good he's been terrific with the Lions. Not mobile, though. That's the problem. You got to be mobile, but a good quarterback. If you want to have him over Cousins, I have no problem with it. And Kyler Murray, Mike, obviously he did great against the Eagles. Well, I think you could have done well against the Eagles, Mike. With you're a lefty, are you not?
I'm right-handed.
Are you righty? Because I saw your pictures of you pitching, so I can't remember if you're lefty or righty. But Kyler Murray just taken a step back, so he's got to get back to where he was. And then the incompletes are. I'm a C.J. Stroud stan. I'm just blown away. One of the best rookie seasons in NFL history. He's phenomenal. He only started 1 year. He needs more. We can't put him in it. Jordan Love is another guy I love. Second half, no quarterback played better in the National Football League than Jordan Love in the second half. Anthony Richardson played great before he got hurt, but major shoulder injury, barely played, so they could not get in our top 15.
All right. By the way, Stroud, he made it in the executives' top 10, and Goff was number 9 on their list as well.
9.
Yes.
Wow. See, again, I'm not including guys. See, my criteria is different. I needed more of a sample because just look at Hurts and look at Lawrence. Look at
fair.
Look at Hurts in particular.
Fair.
Hurts has got to play better. He's got to be more consistent. I got on the wagon because I knew from the inside the building kind of how I know how hard he works. I know talking to one of the former coaches, blown away that he would get there at like 4:30 in the morning before the coaches did. That means a lot to me from a leadership standpoint. because
they had Stroud number 7, by the way. Goff was number 9.
Okay, see that Goff, that's high. Now he's been durable, but Hurts is interesting. We'll see if he can bounce back, and I think my list is pretty fair.
Yeah,
I know some people don't like Stafford at all. I don't.
They had Stafford number 5. They had Stafford 5. It was Mahomes, Burrow, Allen, Lamar Jackson, Stafford, Herbert, Stroud, Rodgers, Goff, Prescott.
All right, Mike, before we get out of here, I would put Stroud, if we were including these guys who have not started a lot, who only started 1 year or less, I would have Stroud. Now, this is really forward thinking. I would have Stroud at number 5 over Stafford. I would have it Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Jackson, Stroud. It's kind of ridiculous to do that. You remember that the stories that came out about the intelligence test on him was not good?
Yep.
Good for Nick Cassari, the GM, to throw that crap out, and that it turned out to be nonsense. And I'm so glad that he ignored it. And Jordan Love, I could tell you, did not have a good training camp last summer. Again, if we were including these guys that have only started 1 year, he'd be number 6 for me. You kind of know it when you see it. Yeah, we could be fooled. We didn't expect Wentz to take the step back that he did. That's another story. We'll talk more about this on Friday, Mike. We go deeper into Wentz and Hurts and some of these other quarterbacks. But I wanted to give you my list.
There it is, Adam Caplan, everybody, and we'll talk more about that on Friday's show here on Football at 4 on the Sports Bash. And don't forget the Inside the Birds podcast. We're getting ready for training camp about this time next week. In fact, this time next week, the rookies will be reporting to the NovaCare Center. Adam, looking forward to it, man.
Thank you.
Football at 4, everybody, here on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN, the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app.